2014, the endgame struggle. 2015, more of the same. These are the hot topics I will be sharing with you in this rather long video today. Greetings from Bulgaria, I'm Volk and welcome. I will be reading the script that I've transferred and created in the form of an article published on my website. So if you're visiting this video of mine for the very first time and you haven't previously heard my horrible accent, well, you have a way to escape it. Plus, in the article there are tons and tons of links, references and interesting additions that I won't be able to show in the video. However, I will show you different things during the video, so you will be entertained both reading and or watching. Shall we begin? "2014, the endgame struggle. In the beginning of the year, my guild slowly faded away as players left the game out of boredom and due to the lack of new content again. This was the time I moved from Republic to Empire and started playing Skorks, my Marauder, as my main character. I spent about 9 or 10 months, not really sure about the duration, before I returned back to Volk and to the light side. Patch 2.5 and 2.6 Space PvP. This free expansion, or mini expansion, was so not my type of content that I would play and enjoy. I barely played 2 or 3 games of Space PvP during the early access and never have I returned to it later. No, don't get me wrong, it's not bad at all. It probably still is fun if anybody is actually playing it in the end of 2015. It wouldn't be a surprise if the Space PvP is totally dead. It had not received any updates ever since its release. Good enough patch for the middle of the summer overall. Patch 2.7, the beginning of something awesome. Dread Fortress received the new Nightmare mode and it was truly and really challenging. Following the previous style of clearing Nightmare content, BioWare introduced 1 or more new mechanics for each boss encounter. The title of this section is as such because in this update BioWare began the Forged Alliance's story arc. At first it seemed like a nice casual stroll aside from the main conflict, but later on we realized how important this all was. More on that when I reach patch 3.0. Hey, look! A new PvP map appeared. That's impossible. How many months have passed since the previous one? Ancient Hypergate? Really? That long? Not possible, but then again, delaying new content has already become a standard for BioWare at this time. The company was really struggling in the whole 2013 to provide new content on a regular basis. Patch 2.8, the Dread Palace Nightmare Disaster. When 2.8 landed on the live servers in June 2013, players were shocked how unfinished, buggy and crappy the new patch was. This was the time when next Nightmare content was served at Dread Palace. The best guilds were lining up in front of the entrances for endless raid nights, only to discover that half of the players could not enter the instance. Others were unable to even download and update the game in time. It was then when I witnessed the biggest number of endgame progression guilds disbanding and tons of players simply leaving the game. This time, I'm sad to admit BioWare deserved the rage coming their way. They released an unfinished and untested product. Hell, many of us reported game-breaking bugs on PTS, yet the developers moved on to deploy the patch to the live servers as planned. That wasn't an easy summer for all of us. Patch 2.9, welcome home. In the middle of the summer we got our new personal strongholds to decorate and show off. The Conquest system was released and caused the birth of a new type of guilds in our game. Casual, Conquest, focused ones. The new flashpoints located on Manaan continued the story of Forged Alliances and brought a nice old memory to our minds with the introduction of Manaan, a very small transition place that we wanted to call a planet but somehow we couldn't. There is really nothing to do on Manaan except a couple of dialogue cutscenes. But the music there, wow, it brought back many memories from KOTOR. Patch 2.10, Revan is alive. The final chapter of Forged Alliances took players to Rakata Prime, also known as Leon. I hope you have seen my Rakata lore video, where the mastermind behind all of this was finally revealed. Raven is not only alive, but he has a brand new plan for the universe and the life overall. Patch 3.0, may the lag be with you. Many of you watching or reading this would probably be familiar because patch 3.0 was one of the more recent ones and also the second expansion of Star Wars The Old Republic. It gave us two new worlds, Rishi and Yavin 4. During the first week of early access, I somehow managed to beat the lag and severe ability delay to complete the story twice. It was much worse compared to what we experienced during the Macabre release. But when on the next Tuesday the servers opened up for everybody else, the game became unplayable. Some of you may still remember the ability delay I experienced on Titan when I decided to create my second Sentinel Sabrosa. This was a live stream and it is still recorded and available on my YouTube channel. Sabrosa's purpose was to experience the dark side of the night story and give me a chance to test all of the new changes BioWare made to the game with the introduction of the discipline system with the second expansion. The two new flashpoints on Rishi were available as solo tactical mode and later on they became also available as hard mode. They were fun, but after the third or fourth replay, they were already getting boring. The dialogues and different opinions and options inside were below the zero count. Forged Alliances transformed from a great side story arc into a prelude to Shadow of Revan expansion and story. The 4 flashpoints included received hard mode and solo mode as well. Let's not forget that yet again, after nearly an year of waiting, Endgame was back on the map. Phew. Or should I say, woohoo! The Ravagers and Temple of Sacrifice story mode and hard mode. These operations will never see Nightmare mode status. BioWare already confirmed it long ago. Both operations showed the big wild world together with the release of Shadow of Revan. We of course got 5 new levels. Running through Rishi and Yavin 4 with enough buffs and some legacy perks was more than enough to get us from 55 to 60, the new level cap. So many were just skipping on the side quests and the dailies. It's sad that even today in the end of 2015, Ravagers and Temple are still considered endgame because they are the most challenging of all of the rescaled hard mode operations. They never received Nightmare mode as I've mentioned, but the mechanics inside were unforgiving enough and BioWare probably just decided that there is no more room for upping the challenge. Along with this patch, a huge game-breaking bug leading to a huge exploit outbreak happened. BioWare seemed to have taken a break for the holidays, which allowed players to keep exploiting the Ravager's loot bug endless times. It all resulted in the first in the history of SWTOR massive ban event. 2015, more of the same. Since this is the most recent year, I will be more brief here. Patch 3.1, nothing much. The 2 new flashpoints on Rishi received their hard modes. Oh boy, were they hard at first. I do have videos, walkthroughs with full runs, especially for the bonus boss of Battle of Rishi, which was a very true challenge with some very interesting, kind of new at least to me, mechanics. I would definitely encourage you to take a look at this boss fight before the nerf. Many of you have probably experienced it after, but it's kind of a different fight. Patch 3.2, The Emperor Returns. Ziost was a great new story and world. Well, it was more of a mini area rather than a planet or anything else. Kind of like Oricon, but a lot more silent and calm. The story about Vishyati was thrilling and entertaining, but only the first 2 times. After we explored the different light side and dark side options, farming it became a bit boring, just like with any story. It's no fun repeating it over and over again. And to make things worse, the content was only available at level 60. Why, BioWare, why? So, despite of the easy fights on Ziost through the story, we were unable to use the area to finish leveling our characters there. Patch 3.3, the delayed Tugruta. While the new species was great in its female form and variations, the male characters didn't really meet the hopes and expectations most of us had after such a long period of developing. It's been more than 6 or 7 months, I think, since BioWare mentioned the Togruta as the next playable species in the game. The Yavin 4 Stronghold, that was also released with 3.2, was a true masterpiece. Hands down, the best designed Stronghold I've ever seen, and I honestly don't believe they can top off this anytime soon with whatever else they are planning for the future. Patch 4.0, more of the same. When I say more of the same, I don't always mean it in the bad way, not at all. The story we received with Fallen Empire is kind of more of the same because it's more BioWare story, and that's awesome. It was beyond any of our wildest dreams. We had drama, interesting new characters, great cinematic storytelling, well-masked fake choices, and did I mention the story? Well, no. It's worth mentioning more than once. Along with that, and pushed by EA to leave more space for Battlefront to shine, not that the two games have anything else in common besides the S and W letters in their titles, the developers from BioWare Austin were forced to rescale all the old operations and flashpoints to make them accessible to new players and to cover the huge gap they left yet again for another 1 year in the hearts of the progression-oriented players. No new ops for another year or so, stacking it up to nearly 2, unless they surprise us in the summer of 2016, means a lot of struggle for most guilds to keep their ranks and active players. Well, the good news is that we're going to receive a new story chapter each month together with the special subscriber rewards that BioWare very recently promised to us in a live stream. Filling up 2 seasons of Fallen Empire before the end of 2016 is a very good promise. That's BioWare's plans for now. We know very little about what's coming next year beyond the monthly chapters and the new coming Warzone, which is still very much in a rumor stage or status. The future is bright though. I know many have concerns, I do too, but these 2 articles that I have published and the 2 videos that I've created are to tell the story of the game with some heavy stains on my personal experience during the years. I'm here to stay. I love the game, still enjoy it. Even though I recently expanded the content of my channel with another game in the roster, that's Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt, and I may expand it further in the future, my main focus will remain Star Wars The Old Republic as my big passion is Star Wars, and I cannot escape from this. This is the end of part 2. Thank you very much for traveling back through time with me. I hope you have enjoyed this quite long video. If you did, definitely make sure to leave the thumbs up because I've spent an insane amount of time working on this and double the amount of time working on the script and the article. Please take a look at the article and check out all the millions of links that I've placed there for your convenience and for your entertainment. Once again, thank you guys for listening, watching and reading. I will see you with the next video. Just in case you're watching this in time, a couple of days after the publish, it's still not too late to wish you happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and have a wonderful New Year celebration. See you next time. Bye bye.